Manchester United's latest appointment is exciting and could be better than fans think. Manchester United have had a mixed season, some good games, some bad games. And while yesterday versus Everton was appalling, it's crazy to think that if we won that game, we'd be in fifth and the mood would be positive. But now the mood's really negative because we've lost 1-0 against 10-man Everton at home. And I think it's probably the manner in which we lost, which makes it so negative. We're going to talk about Manchester United's latest appointment and why this is really good for the academy, the future of the club, and why Ineos are taking another step in the right direction. Keys Smith, a player Manchester United are looking at. Why would that be a good deal? 3 players to leave on loan, including Aidan Heaven, which is quite interesting. Ahmad and Mbumo, could they stay for a little bit longer before AFCON? And some recent links to James Garner. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into the next 10 minutes for you guys. If you do enjoy today's video, feel free to hit that like button. You're welcome to subscribe if you're new. But before we get into the news, I want to get up a stat that I got up briefly in my live stream earlier that I think is a little bit worrying. When we have had less than 50% possession under Ruben Amorim, we've won 7 games, drawn 5 and lost 3. With a points per match of 1.73, which is decent. Not amazing, but it's decent. When we've had more than 50% possession, we've only won 1 of 24 games. We've only won 5 of 24 games, drawn 4 and lost 15. 15 matches lost and 5 won when we've had more than 50% possession. That is nuts. That is nuts. Like, we've literally got 3 times more chance of losing a game than winning when we have more than 50% possession. Whereas at least when we have less than 50% possession, we've got more than double the chance of winning than losing. That is worrying. Amorim as a coach needs to understand, how are we going to dominate games better? How are we going to be better in possession? Obviously, he doesn't quite have the profiles he needs to do that, but we need to get better in possession. I know we sometimes struggled in possession under Ollie and under previous managers at breaking down low blocks, but this is the worst. This is the worst we've been in possession for a while. And I think there needs to be some adaptations and changes to try and dominate sides. Because look, you're never going to dominate Arsenal in possession, for example, but you should be able to, outplay a 10-man Everton when you dominate possession. You should be able to break the lines and find space and whatnot. And that is very worrying. But look, we can only fix that in the transfer window. And let's talk about our latest appointment. Exclusive. Manchester United strengthen recruitment operation by appointing Kyle McCallie as head of senior scouting. The 39-year-old joins Man United after spells at West Ham, Chelsea and Brighton. Well-regarded scout will report with Christopher Vival. He's basically followed sort of Graham Potter everywhere he has gone, which means Graham Potter to replace Amorim. No, I'm only joking. But let's talk about this appointment, because obviously nobody's really spoken about it. Nobody's said anything about it. But I think this is a very good bit of recruitment from Manchester United. Obviously, we've got Christopher Vival finding the gems like Sekou Kone. But this guy, he's got a really good history of finding gems. He has plenty of experience in roles in the Premier League and is well known for identifying young talents from lower leagues, which United are looking to do, and blah, blah, blah. But he was the guy that brought in Moises Caicedo for 4 million for Brighton. He was the guy that, obviously, we were scouting Moises Caicedo at the time, and our scouts did that. But he was also responsible for finding Moises Caicedo and getting Brighton to sign him, and a lot of Brighton's good work. Kyle was behind the signings of Caicedo, Matoma, Cucurella, and Estupiñán when they came to Brighton. Evan Ferguson and Ciso and João Pedro. He's behind a lot of the top signings Brighton have made, and he's now heading to United's recruitment to work with Vival for the youth. Vival looking at Africa in the Gems. This guy could be looking in South America at the Gems. Those two working together could be exciting, because we've seen with the likes of Sekou Kone, Diego Leon, we've got this Christian Orozco coming in. We've got Enzo Canabiak on loan at Lausanne. United are really trying to capitalise by bringing in the best next thing and building a really strong academy. We've already got a good academy. We've got loads of good young stars coming in to go into that academy to push the first team. And United have got a lot of top players for the future. But first of all, we need to make sure we have a pathway for these players, which we can't currently give them because we've only got 1 game a week. But second of all, as well as having a pathway for these players, we need the first team to be good, so there's a stable environment for them to come in and learn and grow. There's a lot of young players like Moises Caicedo. Would he be as good as he is now if he went to Man United, not Brighton? We don't know that. Would we have given him minutes? So we've also got to look at that way, because we need to have a good pathway. Now, I want to talk about Keith Smith in a second, but obviously, talking of pathways, Diego Leon, Sekou Kone are two of United's players who are going to go out on loan in January. Aiden Heaven could also go out on loan because Leach is coming back from injury. We've only got one game a week. As much as I like Aiden Heaven, he's not getting a whole lot of minutes. That's my only concern. We need to be at least in the Europa League next year so we can start giving minutes to these players. I don't want to be in the Conference League, but I'd rather be in the Conference League than not in Europe at all, because I think the Conference League is a really good opportunity to play our youngsters. Talking of youngsters, I want to talk about a player that United are looking at, and Sully is not the first person to link us to Keith Smith. United hold interest in AZ Alkmaar midfielder Keith Smith. Vivel has mentioned his name in internal talks. Many top European clubs are in the race. Expectation of fee is around 25 million. So obviously we're just talking about Kyle coming in to work with Vivel. Not only does Vivel find the really, really young gems that no one's heard of, but he also finds some other gems in Europe, and that is Keith Smith, who could be available for 20 to 25 million. Now, I know Eredivisie signings and Manchester United is something we're looking to avoid post Ten Hag, but this guy looks like he could be the next big thing. A bit like Reinders, could be the next big thing in midfield from the Eredivisie, like Frankie de Jong. He's very good on the ball. We're just talking about how Man United are poor when they dominate possession. You want him next to an Elliot Anderson type player, someone that's good out of possession, that can do out of possession. But he's good on the ball. He can drive forward. He can carry the ball, can do quick passes, quick combinations. He's very good on the ball. Off the ball, he seems to have the physical attributes I think you'd need in the Prem, good off the ball movement. But it's dribbling, it's like passing. He just looks really, really good. Very good at the quick 1-2s, very good at passing, dribbling, playing out from the press, good defensive numbers as well. And I think when we're struggling in possession, maybe this is someone we look at. Now, I'm not saying we should sign him and he's going to fix our problems. He's very young, he's very raw. That'll be silly. But if he's 25 million, and let's say we get Elliot Anderson and João Gomez, we might as well bring this guy in as well. Keith Smith, Kobbie Mainoo, Elliot Anderson, João Gomez as the future of the midfield, not totally against that. Obviously, I love Bruno, but he's aging. Continuing on into other stories. So there was talk that Mbeumo and Ahmad could be released 2 weeks before AFCON to train with their nations, which obviously we don't want. Manchester United, after losing to Everton, are probably not going to want that. But the Mail has reported that United will accelerate discussions over the AFCON release dates for Mbeumo, Ahmad and Mazraoui. And basically, Manchester United are trying to hold on to Ahmad and Mbeumo and Mazraoui as long as possible, which makes sense because, look, Mbeumo was the only guy trying to make things happen the other day. Like, I just think without Mbeumo and Ahmad, because we're so much better when we have Ahmad at wing back, because when we have two fullbacks at wing back, we're so defensive. I just think without those two players, we could struggle. We really could struggle. Anyway, continuing on. So we've now been linked to James Garner. I think his contract is expiring at Everton. Man United are among clubs monitoring the James Garner situation, whose contract's going to expire at the end of the season. If I'm going to be totally honest, I think this is media guesswork. I think we played Everton yesterday. James Garner played well, and he was a Man United academy player. His contract is running out, so let's link him to United. That's what I think it is. I don't think we're actually looking at him. I think the journalists have just gone, well, Garner played well against United. United need a midfielder. They must be looking at him. He was from the academy. James Garner's mostly played right back this season. I don't think he's what Man United want in midfield. I like the boy. Don't get me wrong, I like the boy. But I don't think we'll be going for James Garner in the summer. I probably think it's a bit of media guesswork. Anyway, people, thank you so much for watching today's video. See you next time. Bye.